Hello everyone, this is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library, and welcome to another Frontier Roots. Daily happenings in Hidalgo County. Now these are going to be newspaper accounts that I've just picked out through various years. The first one, Catholic priest disappears. I'm sure y'all have heard the story about this Catholic priest, but in the Galveston Daily News on Sunday, the 17th of December, 1882, there was a mention of his remains being found. And it states that he disappeared some 10 years ago, which makes it around 1870, 1872. And he was found last week near La Pierda Ranch in Hidalgo County. Near the remains were found the father's chalice, crucifix, and altar, about $18 in money, and a saddle. And they make a note that it has always been supposed that he was murdered. Now he was traveling from one town to the next, and he never made it to the other town. Hidalgo happenings. This is in the Brownsville Herald, reported on the 20th of May, 1895. This is a great article to look at because you're going to get a wealth of information about what is happening in this town at this time. So I'm going to read you pieces of it. Hidalgo, Texas, May 16th. The late rains have done a great deal of good of growing crops all along the river, and a rich harvest can now be anticipated. The steamboat Bessie, Captain Thorman, passed up the river several days ago with a fair cargo, returning yesterday with a fair load. She brought a lot of flour for this place. W.J. Odell has gone to San Antonio on a business, pleasures, health-seeking visit. His health has not been good for some time past. Although times are dull and money scarce, there seems to be a boom in our little town in the way of improvement. J.M. France, which is actually France, is building a fine brick residence. Andres Chavez lately moved into a new residence which has been under construction the last 3 months. P.S. Champion is having his home, which he lately purchased from W.J. Odell, thoroughly repaired. Cattle are still in demand and sales are still being made, principally to the Vela family. W.F. Sprague, one of our leading ranchmen, has gone to San Antonio with a herd of horses which are already under contract. I would love to have seen that happen. And we hear about the John Klausner plantation. He's doing well. Our market is now well supplied with all kinds of vegetables, such as squashes, beets, radishes, carrots, onions, garlic, potatoes, cucumbers, pumpkins, roasting ears, etc., etc. In a few days more, we shall have melons of all kinds, which will be a blessing for our poor people. I would love to be in the market on that time when they're bringing all of these vegetables there. Dr. A.L. Edwards, formerly of your city, he's talking about Brownsville, has settled himself down in Hidalgo to stay. So he says. He is welcomed by our people. We have long been in need of a good physician, and we predict for him a lucrative practice. So even in this one article, you'll hear about different families, what they're doing in their town, what's happening in their town. So it's a great article that gives you that great taste of what's happening in Hidalgo in 1895. Mrs. John McAllen dies. This is in the Brownsville Herald in 1898. The funeral of Miss John McAllen, whose death occurred Saturday morning, was fixed for 5 o'clock last evening, but was postponed until 8:30 this morning on account of the failure of her son to arrive in time from his home in Hidalgo County. And she's being buried in Brownsville. A large number of friends and acquaintances gathered at the residence to pay the last sad tribute of respect to the departed. An unusually long procession followed the body to the city cemetery where it was laid to rest in the family lot. Thanksgiving at Hidalgo. This was reported in 1902, which is great. Thanksgiving Day was celebrated here by suspension of all work and closing the public school and all public offices. So they had a game of baseball between the boys and the girls. You've got names of some of the teams: Miss Rosa Kidder, Mrs. Beatriz Zamano, Gertrudis Chavez, Master John Klausner, Master Benito Uribe, George Danette, Miss Lillian Doherty. We also have Irene Kidder, Mamie Klausner, Reyes Castillo, Benito Diaz. You got all sorts of names here. Ms. Lola Franz. The captain scorekeeper was David Sloss. And not only among the young, there was also a game between the bachelors and the Benedicts, which is the bachelors were the single and the Benedicts were the older gentlemen. So it says here, it was a very interesting game from the beginning, and the Benedicts surely deserve credit for the good playing they did. A big crowd attended both games, and a fine band of music made the air lively during the program. So this would have been great to see or to participate in. This one came out of the Daily Herald in 1902. Indiana man sued for divorce. It's very funny to see these unique little clippets in there. And you'll see here the rains are putting a fine season on the ground for next year's planting at the very bottom. An Indiana man brought suit for divorce because his wife smoked cigarettes and was freed from such objectionable mate. Good for her. Now, a more somber note, in 1905, killed at Hidalgo, the killing of Manuel Sloss by Abraham Castro at Hidalgo. And no particulars were received further than that Castro emptied his revolver into Sloss, threw the gun away, and made for the ferry crossing into Mexico. But the Mexican authorities did grab him, and they were waiting for extradition papers to bring him back. A sad deal. David Sloss, a brother of the dead man, was working here as a stenographer for B.D. Chapin and left yesterday afternoon by private conveyance for Hidalgo. Another local item, and this is in the Daily Herald in Brownsville, September 27, 1907. A fine rain fell yesterday in Sam Fordyce. Meal tickets at the Metropolitan Restaurant. 21 meals for $4. I wonder if they're still open. Wanted, neat 5 or 5 room cottage. Apply to W.C. Renford. An engineer has arrived who will erect the pumping machinery for the South Texas garden. And wanted, a Texas confectionery, a boy about 15 years old who can speak both English and Spanish. So some interesting tidbits in the local items. And always forget when you're looking at the newspaper to look at the ads that are put in there. McAllen Hotel. This was in 1908. O.P. Archer was a proprietor. Everything new, hot and cold bath. First class service. Rates $2 per day. In 1913, murderer denies heaven or hell from scaffold. Now, I'm sure you all have heard of Abraham Ortiz. He was the one that was hung in the old Hidalgo County jail. He was the only one that was executed there. This is an article about his last moments. He was hanged at 11:30 this morning. Stepping to the gallows, he asked that he be hung without the customary death cap, and as a final word, reaffirmed his assertion to the priest attending that there was no heaven or hell. Ortiz was convicted in the Hidalgo District Court for the murder of Martin Martinez and the criminal assault of his wife, Maria Martinez. And in 1950, a little bit more current, the San Juan Hotel owner and guest slain in lobby. Miss Edna Nelson, about 50, she was the owner of the San Juan Hotel, and a man tentatively identified as Victor Goodry, he was from Corpus Christi, were shot and killed in the lobby of the San Juan Hotel late Tuesday. And according to this newspaper account, a man that was working for her that she had just recently terminated his employment and told him to vacate the premises was the name of Tony Coleman, came back and allegedly committed the crime and killed her and the innocent bystander. Thanks for watching Frontier Roots Daily Happenings in Hidalgo County. Make sure that once in a while get online and look at some of these newspapers from the past and read about what's happening there or what happened in your local community. So next time on Frontier Roots, the 1890 murder of Judge Max Stein. This is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library. So see you next time on Frontier Roots.